A new player on the trade market. Could the Baltimore Ravens potentially land Broncos wide receiver Courtland Sutton? We will discuss that topic and more here on this edition of Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with this report from Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, who tweeted out the following. Broncos wide receiver Courtland Sutton did not report Monday for voluntary workouts as he seeks a new contract per source. Sutton is going on his 10th starting QB in 7 seasons and has only $2 million guaranteed left on his deal. He has 10 touchdowns in 2023 while ranking 56th in targets. So that leaves open the possibility that Courtland Sutton could be playing for a brand new team in 2024. Could that team be the Baltimore Ravens? What's the potential fit for Sutton in the Ravens offense? We'll dissect that in just a moment. Let's ask you guys first, do you want the Ravens to trade for Courtland Sutton? It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, N for no if you would like to trade for Sutton or not. Now, not only has Courtland Sutton's name been floating around NFL circles for a potential trade, the Baltimore Ravens have been named by an NFL insider, David Latham of Last Word on Sports, as a potential top destination to land the Broncos receiver. Here's more. Odell Beckham has said his goodbyes, which means that the team must find a new wide receiver. Lamar Jackson had 2 reliable receivers last year and 1 MVP honors. So a similar result could happen if the Ravens trade for Courtland Sutton. With Flowers getting open inside and Mark Andrews dominating the seam, Sutton can provide a much-needed outside threat. Baltimore needs as many weapons as they can get if they want to take down Kansas City, and Sutton could be the missing piece to the puzzle. Now, if you're looking at the Ravens offense, and we're going to compare to Kansas City here in just a second, Sutton could exactly be the missing piece that this Baltimore Ravens team is looking for. And honestly, I think he'd be an upgrade compared to what we saw from OBJ. There was a lot of excitement, a lot made about bringing in OBJ, of the Ravens winning the OBJ sweepstakes last year, but his season was so up and down and inconsistent, dealing with injuries throughout the year, that the Ravens really didn't get what they bargained for when it came to OBJ last year, what they thought they were getting. You compare him to Courtland Sutton. Think about this, okay? Last season, Courtland Sutton had a lot more targets, found ways to get open a lot more than OBJ did, 90 compared to 64, 59 catches compared to 35, so that's a big difference there. Yardage-wise, 772 yards compared to 565 yards from OBJ. Oh, yeah, and then the touchdown number, huge difference there as well. Courtland Sutton had 10 touchdowns compared to 3 from OBJ. The average was greater for OBJ, 16 compared to 13. But you look at this Ravens wide receiver depth chart right now, and we are all sitting here saying to ourselves, okay, this can't be it, right? This is not what the Baltimore Ravens are going to open the season with as their receiving corps. Zay Flowers, he's, I think, going to have a fantastic sophomore campaign. Rashad Bateman playing on a contract year. He's got something to prove, certainly so this year. Nelson Aguilar, not a bad number 3 or 4 receiver. The Ravens are very glad to bring him back. But beyond that, this team is clearly missing something, and that they need to invest in this wide receiver position. Whether it is a trade for a guy like Sutton or somebody in the draft, the wide receiver room that you see right now is not what you will see when the season begins. I can guarantee you that much right now. More on Courtland Sutton in just a moment, but first, I want to tell you about a great deal we're offering Ravens fans right now. Derrick Henry, the biggest addition for the Baltimore Ravens so far in 2024, is here. And I got to tell you, we got some great gear on sale right now at chatsports.com/King Henry if you want to represent the new king of Baltimore. His jerseys are available, men's and women's. We also have the shirtsy as well if you want to go that route. Plenty of things to choose from. I know we got the purple ones on our screens right now, but there's others to choose from as well. All different shapes and sizes, varieties, Everybody's covered. If you want to get some Derrick Henry gear before the season begins, now's your chance to do so. Chatsports.com/King Henry to get yours today. Find one for yourself. Look, we got some big holidays coming up here soon. Mother's Day is going to be here in a few weeks. Got Father's Day after that. Maybe you want to get a Derrick Henry jersey for a loved one or yourself. Either way, we got you covered. Chatsports.com/King Henry. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now think about this. The Ravens, there's only one team that they should be comparing themselves to. It's not the Houston Texans, not the Cleveland Browns, not the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals, or the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins. It is the Kansas City Chiefs. And so if you're the Baltimore Ravens, what you are doing throughout this offseason is comparing yourself. How do we stack up with Kansas City? That's the team that we have to take down. That stands in our way of getting to the Super Bowl is the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you add Courtland Sutton to the mix, what does that do for you, comparatively speaking to the Kansas City Chiefs? Here's what you potentially could have on the Ravens offense if you add in Courtland Sutton. You have Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP. Derrick Henry is, I think, going to be dynamic and a perfect fit for the Ravens' run game and also kind of relieve the load, if you will, off of Lamar Jackson when it comes to that run game. Keaton Mitchell will be back for his sophomore campaign. Looks like that he might not be ready when the season begins, though, but nonetheless, he'll be there. Zay Flowers, I think, is going to be fantastic this year. You put him and Courtland Sutton together, and you'd have two top receivers doing two different things, right? So that would add another element to the Ravens' offense. You put Rashad Bateman with something to prove here, and hopefully he kind of has a breakout year of sorts this season. Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in football. Hopefully he stays healthy, but he has shown that he's still got it, one of the best players at his position, and a lot of promise from Isaiah Likely last year when Mark Andrews went down. I hope that Todd Monken and company use some 12 personnel where we see both of them on the field. Now, compared to Kansas City, here's what the Chiefs have as of right now, and obviously the Chiefs have the draft, and they could potentially still make some moves themselves here. Patrick Mahomes, of course, leading the way at the quarterback position. Pacheco has turned into one of the better running backs in football. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not a bad number 2 back. Rashee Rice, they're still figuring out his situation with the legal ramifications, but I would expect him to be available for the Chiefs when it matters. They brought in Marquise Brown, who's coming off a disappointing couple of seasons with the Arizona Cardinals, but the Chiefs have a good track record of getting the most out of their players, so I would expect that the version of Marquise Brown that the Chiefs are getting is similar to what we saw in Baltimore a couple years ago, and that adds a whole nother dynamic to that Chiefs offense when it comes to the deep passing game with Marquise Brown's speed. Justin Watson, not a bad player. Travis Kelce, of course, the best tight end in football, maybe the best tight end to ever play the game. And Noah Gray, you also have Irv Smith there. The Chiefs offense, if you thought they dealt with some issues last year and they found a way to work through it, they are going to be much better from the start of the season. So if you add Courtland Sutton, I would give the Ravens the advantage over the Chiefs offense. If you don't add Courtland Sutton, if you roll with what you got right now, I like the Chiefs offense better than I do Baltimore's at the moment. Who would have the better offense if you bring in Courtland Sutton? Is it the Baltimore Ravens? Is it the Kansas City Chiefs? Because that's who we're comparing ourselves to. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, next year, we're breaking the huddle every time saying beat KC. That's the goal, that's the focus, is taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you like the Ravens offense with Sutton more, or do you like the Chiefs offense more? Type R for Ravens, type C for Chiefs. Let us know in the comments section below. We are just a week away from the 2024 NFL Draft, and you are going to find the most elite draft coverage, just like the great Joe Flacco, right here on Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. No one's covering this team like anyone like we are here on the channel, folks. We are bringing you mock drafts. We also have the latest news and rumors around the draft. Everything you need to know, it's all in one place. We just reached 16,000 subscribers this week. We continue to grow. We want you to be a part of the Rundown each and every day here on the channel. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/RavensTV. So here's what we're looking at of a potential trade for Courtland Sutton here. If you were to bring him to Baltimore, I think you're looking at giving up about a 4th-round pick because you still have to pay him, right? I think that is very manageable for Baltimore to give up a 4th-round pick here Because here's what we're talking about contract situation-wise, okay? He's got 2 years remaining on his current deal, owed $27.6 million. And he's looking for some more guaranteed money. So you would probably have to pay him more or at least find a way to get him some more guaranteed money in order to be satisfied here. He's still a relatively young player. Remember, it was 2018 that he was a second-round pick out of SMU. And if he comes to Baltimore, you look at the statistics of what he's done the last few seasons, I think his numbers could be much better with actually good quarterback play. We heard from the report from Last Word on Sports earlier about all those different quarterbacks he's played with. Lamar, without question, would be the best quarterbacks he's played with, and it's not even close. So I would expect Courtland Sutton to be back to a Pro Bowl potential level if he were to come to Baltimore. And think about this, too. With the draft just a week away, a trade for Courtland Sutton means that the wide receiver position, when it comes to the draft next week, if you were to do this before Thursday, becomes a back burner issue of sorts. I would still expect the Ravens to draft a receiver, but not till later on. Then you take care of your other needs, like the offensive line, the secondary. Prioritize those things and not have to spend a day one or day two pick at the wide receiver spot if you were to make a move for Courtland Sutton there. And Courtland Sutton's going to be better than any fourth-round receiver you're going to find. So to me, I think this is a win-win. So let's ask you, what do you think? Should the Ravens trade for Courtland Sutton? If I didn't convince you earlier in the show when we asked you, what do you think now that you have all this data in front of you? Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, N for no, in the comments section if you want to trade for Courtland Sutton. Thanks for joining us here on Ravens Rundown. For more Ravens coverage, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.